Hi, everyone. I see that people are still coming in, but let's get started. I'm Katrien. I'm leading the communication activities on EOSC Future, a project that is building the European Open Science Cloud. But today I'm here as your hostess for the second Ask Me Anything session. There's a monthly event in which each month we'll have a look at a different category of resources that is available in the EOSC catalog and marketplace. Last month, speakers from different EOSC projects presented solutions for mid to long-term data storage that are available through EOSC. And maybe you already joined then, but if you didn't tune in then, or if you would like to share that session, it is available, or the recording is available on the EOSC Future website and on the EOSC Portal YouTube channel. So you can go and have a look there. Today, you'll find out more about software solutions that are available in the EOSC marketplace and catalog, how they are classified, how they can be used, and how you can order them. If you're a service provider, we'll also give you some pointers on how services can be onboarded, or services for software can be onboarded. An important note before we begin is one on questions. At the end of the session, there'll be plenty of time to ask questions or to get feedback from you or from our speakers. But we ask you to submit those questions during the sessions, not in the chat, because that becomes very messy very quickly, but through Slido. And on the slide that you're seeing now on your screens, you can see how to join up. So you can either go to slide.do and enter the event code that you see on your screen and the passcode that you see on your screen, or you can just scan the QR code that you see on the slide. And we'll make sure to post the ways of signing up in the chat as well. So that's in the chat right now, I think. So you'll find the passcode and the event code there as well. Then I'm very pleased to introduce today's speakers. First, you'll get a general word of introduction by Julia Malaguarnera, the engagement officer at OpenAir, and she's involved in EOSC Future, where she's working on optimizing the EOSC marketplace. And she'll give you a general introduction to software in the EOSC marketplace. Then we'll move on to an overview of EOSC as a platform for software discovery that will be given to you by Alessia Bardi. She works at CNR and also as a product manager at OpenAir Connect. She is the leader of one of our EOSC Future working groups, namely the one on interoperability. And then finally, we'll have a presentation by Giuseppe La Rocca. He's a community support lead at EGI Foundation, and he's involved in the training of work package on EOSC Future, and he also leads the work package on data spaces on the EGI ACE project. So without further ado now, I see more people have still joined in. So now I'm handing over to Julia, who will take away the presentation. So Julia, over to you. I think you're still muted, Julia.
Thank you. Sorry for that. So thanks, Katrien. Okay, I'm giving you a very brief introduction on what we are going to show you today. And in particular, the session of today is on software, which is the category that you can find in EOSC Marketplace. And sorry, it's not working. So once you enter in the EOSC Marketplace, you can browse by scientific domains or categories. In the session that we are presenting today, we are going through sharing and discovery service. And then in this, you will find sharing and discovery in the resource in the portal, in the EOSC Marketplace portal. And by clicking in this session software, you can find a categorization in libraries, platform, software package, software repository, and other. Today we are focusing on more on the platforms that you can use on software. Here I would like to show you what is going to happen when you are clicking on platforms. So you will see this page Here in the search bar, you can find, you can always type and find the resources that you know that you are listening to the session that we are presenting in EOSC. And also, if you are clicking here in provide feedback, anything that you are tell us about the portal, what you like or what you don't like, we will receive. And in the EOSC future, what we are working is on having a more user-friendly website in order for you to be easier to browse in, as we are very aware about the difficulties that sometimes you can encounter when you are browsing in the EOSC catalog as it is at the moment. But also, you can also report technical problem. And again, we will provide help and feedback. An interesting use case was presented in like 1 month ago by the Dr. Anne Fouliou, who is a researcher in France. And if you are going to click on this QR code, I will give you the link later in the chat. You can see a demonstration on some of the services that are present in the EOSC marketplace, and you can use for your particular software and be compliant with the Open Science, the FAIR, and the EOSC suggestion and guidelines. I will now give the floor to Alessia Bardi, who is speaking about the Open Air Connect and the community gateways, and then to Giuseppe from AGI. So thank you so much, and I hope you will enjoy the session.
Thank you, Julia. So if you stop sharing your screen, I will share mine.
Okay, perfect. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Okay. So now you should be able to see my screen now. Okay, so I'm Alessia Bardi. I'm involved in the Open Air Nexus project and also in EOSC Future. And I am the product manager of Open Air Connect, which is the service by which Open Air can deliver thematic gateways for research communities in specific disciplines. So if you have questions, you can write using Slido. Here you have the details and the QR code that you can use. But let's jump into the topic. So why a platform for the discovery and sharing of research software? So first of all, is because the search process involves different kinds of products. So in the last years, there's been a very active movement to promote datasets as first-class citizens of the scholarly communication ecosystem, and software should be there as well, because it's with the software that we analyze the data, and it's very important to guarantee that the research results are reproducible, are can be verified, and can be transparently assessed. So, and it's also a matter of reward, so that researchers shouldn't be rewarded only for the literature that they produce, so the articles, the reports, but also for the software. That is very important in data-intensive science and in many other kinds of science. So the research community dashboard. The research community dashboard, you can find it in the EOSC marketplace in the section about platform for sharing and discovery software, but in fact, it's not dedicated to software discovery. It can be used to discover any types of research products. So for sure, we have software, we have the articles, we have the data, but also other types like methods, protocols, and any other kind of output of a research activity. And with the research community dashboard, you can request a gateway, so a portal for your research community. And basically what happens is that we select the content that is relevant for your research community based on what's available in the OpenAir Research Graph, which is a big collection, let's say, of metadata records linked to each other that represents different entities of the research life cycle. So from projects, organizations, research outputs, and so on. So we find from there the slice of the record of research that is relevant for the community. And we offer APIs and search functionality on top of it. So in the marketplace, not only you can find the research community dashboard and request a gateway for your community, you can also find the gateways that have been already set up and that can be used by you as a researcher. So for example, here in this slide, you can see the gateway on European marine science, but we have also the one about fisheries and the one about neuroinformatics, digital humanities and cultural heritage. So we span across a very large set of disciplines. And you can find all of them in the marketplace or also in the homepage of OpenAir Connect. So let's take European marine science as an example. So the gateway appears as you can see here. So you have an home page where you have the different types of products, and so that you know how many publications, how many datasets, and how many software are available in the gateway. And if we go and click on the software tab and we see all the software that is available, we have advanced search functionality so that you can specify search criteria on different metadata fields in order to filter down your search. But we also have the filters on the left, which allows you to, well, apply filters. So for example, you can filter by year, you can filter by project, you can filter by access mode. So if it's open or restricted and so on. So I wanted to proceed with an example because all the features of the gateway, they are a lot. So I wanted to focus on one example, and the example is the one of a researcher that is looking for software to reuse for her research purposes. So the idea is that the researcher goes to the EOSC marketplace and discovers that there is a gateway for her discipline, in this case, European marine science. So she accesses the service and performs a search. And the search is about software related to iScore, because our researcher Alice is going to an expedition and she wants to reuse some software. So she found one, but not only. So she can access the source code, of course, here on the bottom right, but she also has a tab where she can see the related research. And this related research tells her that the software is a supplement to a publication, and there is also a data set connected to it. So what she gets, in fact, is not only the software, but it's a research in its full context, because it has the software and its funding project, it has the link to the article and to the datasets. And with few clicks, she can get and access all of them. Could be the case that our researcher can reuse the software or maybe this is not the case, and she develops something new, and she wants to share the new software she developed to the others. And to do that, she can exploit another functionality of the gateway, which is the deposit functionality, which basically suggests which are the Zenodo communities that are relevant for her fields. So Zenodo is a catch-all repository where researchers can deposit any types of research products, and the depositions can be organized, let's say, in collections based on different criteria. And these collections are called Zenodo community. So from the European Marine Science Gateway, she can find the communities of her field and pick one where she can do the deposition. And thanks to this, her software will be shared and will be visible to all researchers of her domain via Zenodo, via the community, and also automatically also via the gateway. So this concludes my brief presentation. So I'm happy to take any questions you may have. Thank you.
So let's keep questions until the end of the session, and it will be good to hand over to Giuseppe.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. Let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Now I'm going to report and introduce Winmar and the application portal available on the EOSC portal marketplace. This presentation was done in collaboration with Alexander Bonven, which is the professor of computational structural biology at the University of Utrecht in the Netherlands. So, okay, these are the instructions. Of course, I'm just repeating that, okay, we are collecting your comment and question in Slido. These are the information, the connection details to post your question. And before to introduce the portal, I would like to start with a brief overview about the community. So Winmar is a community from life science domain, in particular from structural biology. And what the community does is to analyze the genome, study the genome available to improve, to better understand the current disease, try to improve the current molecules of life, engineer and design new potential molecules for different scientific domains, including material, health, or food application. And also, the community is particularly active in the drug design to combat the new potential disease. And this is a particular active the last 2 years with the COVID-19 related project that I will show you in a couple of slides. So the community officially started to work back in 2007 with the ENMR project that then became Winmar. These are two examples of FP7, FP6, and FP7 project that then became been merged, converted in Westlife. EGI officially supported this community in the context of EGI Engage project. This is one of the competence center that we supported. In this project, we provided access to the federated computing infrastructure, and we also provided access to some capabilities. So we provide the services for helping the community to support their day-by-day work. The community has been also supported by the Indigo Data Cloud project. This is an H2020 project, and recently by EOSC. This was one of the thematic services supported by EOSC. And of course, now this collaboration is continuing in EGI ACE project. This is the latest EGI flagship project, and this is one of the data space we are supporting in this framework. Okay, in terms of user base, the community is growing. This is the statistic collected since the beginning of this project in 2007 up to now. You can get this statistic directly from the from this landing page. You can see that there are a lot of community accessing the Winmar portal and services from US, India, and China, but this is a worldwide collaboration. So there are many users around the world that are accessing and using the solution that you can see here. Some of them, Haddock, this is PowerFit and Spotons. In total, there are 28,000 users, but this doesn't mean that there are 28,000 of active users. Some of the users basically register the portal and just connect to run a simulation and download the results. Some of them are basically recurrent users, so from time to time they log in again and continue to work with the Winmar. And recently there are also some researchers that basically are using the Winmar solution for educational. So they are using the portal and the solution offered by Winmar for university courses. In terms of capacity, as I mentioned before, the collaboration with this community started back in the years with the EGI Engage project. So EGI and in general, EOSC are supporting this community, offering capacity and also capabilities, so services that have been customized in order to help this community to perform the analysis on the federated distributed computing infrastructure. In terms of resources, EGI is currently allocating something like more than 50 million of CPU hours for helping the community to run simulation. We are talking here about HPC capacity that are offered with opportunistic access. We are also offering more than 500 cloud CPU core and almost 60 terabytes of storage. And these resources are offered with a dedicated service level agreement, which is established between EGI and the community. This agreement has been recently extended, and this is valid until the end of the EGI AIDS project. The CPU hour consumed by the project is also increasing. You can see the statistics since the beginning of the project, and you can see here in the last 2 years there is a boost. And this is due to the COVID-19 because the Winmar portal has been used also to support the COVID-19 related research. And I will show you this in a couple of slides. So in terms of service suites that are available in the EOSC portal, there are different portals developed by the community around over the year. So all of them, as you can see, have the same look and feels. And some of them have been upgraded with the latest version of software because one of the goals of the community is to meet the user expectation. So to try to offer as much as possible solutions and software that are in line with the user needs. Some of these portals are no longer available now because the software is a bit obsolete and they are not available anymore. So they prefer to retire the software from the portfolio. The architecture of this portal is the same as reported in slides. So before to access the portal, you need to be registered. And there are two different options here. You can ask for you can create a local account in the portal, or you can use the federated authentication mechanism because the portal is compliant with the EOSC authentication. And they have this this user database, which basically contain the user mappings in the different portals provided by Winmar. So before to access the computing resources for simulation, there is a validation phase. So the input provided by the user are validated in order to make sure that just to avoid to waste the computing capacity and avoid to break the system. So there is this validation phase. And if everything is correct, the portal also offers some limited capacity for pre-processing. So if the computing resources requested are not too much, the analysis can be done directly after the portal level, and the output will be directly presented to the user. If not, so if the user is requesting a lot of capacity, so they have to run a lot of jobs, simulating jobs. So for this, in this case, we can rely on the resources offered by GI that are recently also include also GPU, or they can also send analysis directly in the local cluster at the University of Utrecht. So there are two different possibilities. Sometimes the local cluster uses it to prioritize the jobs that have some time constraints. So if they need to be processed and completed in a short time. So in this case, for example, the analysis is redirected to the local cluster. Otherwise, the huge amount of computing is sent to the federated infrastructure operated by GI. So the output produced by this computing, by these analysis are usually post-processed. So there is a post-processing phase to harmonize, to format the data produced before to present the final result to the user. So this is how the architecture is working for the different portals. I mentioned before that Winmar was particularly active in the last 2 years to support COVID-related research. I would like to briefly introduce Haddock. This is one of the portal, one of the software developed by University of Utrecht. It was widely used in the last 2 years because the software is used to model the interaction between virus and the human proteins. And during the COVID-19, this portal has been further extended in order to offer the possibility to user to tag special COVID-19 jobs. So from the portal, there is a possibility to add this specific tag that will be used to accelerate, to speed up a bit the execution of these specific jobs in the infrastructure. From EGI perspective, the last 2 years, we extended the resources, computing and storage capacity, and we also established an agreement with the Open Science Grid in order to offer the possibility to researchers through this Haddock portal to run jobs not only in the federated resources operated by GI, but also in the capacity external resources offered by Open Science Grid. And you see here some of the scientific results supported by Winmar using this Haddock software. And okay, I mentioned before that the Winmar solution are available in EOSC. This is the category that was mentioned before by Julia. So if you browse the marketplace under resources, sharing and discovery categories, software and platform, you have the possibility to get access to all the different service portfolio operated by Winmar. In particular, if you filter by biological science domain, you see all the different solutions that you can find here. Probably you are not able to read because the screenshot is very small, but all of these software are open access. So this means that there is no need to submit a specific service order through the marketplace. You can immediately access, register yourself to the portal, for example, Haddock, and as soon as your account is validated, approved by the administrator, you are able to log in, and from the portal, you can also start to submit your jobs in the federated infrastructure operated by GI. And that's all. So this is just an acknowledgement about the team working with in this Winmar project. So Professor Bonven and the team at the University of Utrecht. And here you see the different FP6 and FP7 and H2020 projects supporting the Winmar initiative. And that's all. Thank you again.
Hi, everyone. We have plenty of time left for questions. I see that some people have already asked questions in Slido. Just to be sure, we'll post the link again in the chat now. So don't hesitate to ask further questions there. The first question that was asked was how many people attending here are researchers that are not involved in EOSC. I can't tell you that in terms of the attendees, but I did follow up in terms of registrations in the chat there. I think there's always people here that do work on an EOSC project, because these just also serve as good refreshers for anyone that works on something that is not really part of the marketplace, for instance, but we do have good attendance from people that are not at all involved in EOSC. And I think particularly in comparison to the previous session, we have a lot more people from research performing organizations that are not universities here today. So I'm very happy to see that. Then in terms of questions that we had about more the content of this session, I don't see a lot of upvotes there, so I'll just pick a random one. I think the first one is which metadata schema is behind software search functionality. I don't know who would be best placed to answer that. Maybe Giuseppe or Julia? Can one of you give more insightful information on that?
Yeah, I don't know if the question is related to my presentation, so the search functionality on the gateway, or if it's about the search functionality of the marketplace.
I'm assuming it came in during your presentation, but maybe Alexander, if you're in the chat here, please feel free to unmute yourself and clarify whether it's about the gateway that Alessia showed or about the EOSC marketplace.
Of course, it's about both. I'm very interested in, for example, code meta and other schemas that have been developed, and which did you reuse any of the existing software metadata schemas, or did you develop your own, and if so, why?
Okay, thanks for the question. So the metadata behind is the one of the OpenAir research graph, and it's based on the OpenAir guidelines. In simple words, it's a data site, metadata format, with some less constraints on one hand, because we do not require a DOI, of course, and we basically try to use the full data site schema. We are also aware of the code meta and other working group working on software and for citation of software. So what we have done is basically to define a mapping from our guidelines to code meta, for example.
Does that make it clearer for you, Alexander, or do you have a follow-up question on that?
Yes, that makes it clear. Thank you very much.
I saw that you also asked another question, so let's take that one as well, which is when you select a field language when searching for software, there's no results for Julia, Python, or R. How do you select programming language? Is that again something that you could answer, Alessia? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yes, it's mine. Yes, thank you for pointing this out. So basically, the pages for software currently are the same as those for publications and datasets. So the language that you see is in fact the language of the metadata. So what we plan to add in the next releases of the gateway and all the OpenAir portals, in fact, is to also add the filter for the programming language specifically. Even if we have to say that the coverage of this information across the sources from which we collect the metadata is not 100%. So we will have to work on that as well.
Thank you, Dan.
If I can add a comment here, Alexander, if you are interested in using this software in the EOSC marketplace, you can also the category is different. If you go under sharing and discovery, application collaboration, there is the GI notebooks. It's a Jupyter Hub services that we can offer for user. And through these Jupyter Hubs, you can select Julia, Python, or R if you are interested to use this kind of notebook with this scanner. So the software, the software, the scanner are available in the GI notebooks if you need them. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so there's a new question that someone has upvoted already, which is how, from a technical point of view, software is made available through the marketplace and how it can be installed. And someone is asking there specifically whether containers using generic binaries are being used. So I don't know who would be best placed to answer that. Giuseppe or Alessia. So really, I think it's on the very practical question of how this software is being made available.
As I mentioned before, one possibility we are currently offering is through the GI notebooks, this Jupyter Hubs environment where user can create notebooks and select which software they want to use to create this notebook. And there are different opportunities, Julia, Python, R, but also Octave. Recently, GI also established a connection with the MathWorks. So in principle, if you have also a MATLAB license, you can also start a notebook with this special kernel, let's say.
This was an anonymous question, but if this person wants to speak up, does it make it clear? Is that the answer you were looking for, or did you mean something else? Don't hesitate to follow up either in the chat or again via Slido. Or unmuted.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Hi, Kenneth.
Hey, hello. Yes, and I posted the question. Sorry for doing it anonymously.
That's how the system is set up.
The question was actually more how these installations are done in the background. So from a technical point of view, is it just somebody doing the installation manually, or are you using available container images and just making the connection to through the marketplace? How does that work from a technical point of view?
Well, there are different opportunities. For example, if you need to install some complex software, we can also provide you some high-level solutions, some parse orchestrator, for example, to install a virtual cluster on top of the EOSC infrastructure and install some dedicated software, for example, the ones that you need, or also some complex stuff like Slurm cluster, Kubernetes, etc., etc. So there are different opportunities. Another possibility is that you request access to the, I don't know, the GI cloud, and as soon as you have access in the infrastructure, you will automatically deploy the software that you need. So you have, for example, access via the OpenStack dashboard, and as soon as you start your virtual machine, you log in the virtual machine, you can do your installation. But this is another possibility. So different options are available.
I was more wondering from the actual application. So one thing I saw pass by is GROMACS, for example. Who is doing that GROMACS installation? Who is making that compilation? How is it done exactly? Like the configuration, or for which type of CPUs? Is that GROMACS optimized? Does it have GPU support? So things like this.
This is done by the community that are operating the services for the end user. So for example, for Haddock, they did the same. For GROMACS is another use case that are supported by Winmar. So they are currently trying to offer the services with the GPU capacity. So this means that they are compiling everything and make this optimized for this platform. And as soon as this is done, of course, this will be offered to the end user. But this is done by the community because they are expert on this domain. And
Kenneth, just to clarify, you're talking here about how these services are onboarded in EOSC, just so I can maybe.
Well, mostly from a real compiler level. So how are these things configured, compiled? Is it wrapped in a container and then uploaded into the marketplace? So
So I don't think we have anyone here who can give you the real detail on this, just because these projects are so big. But I know that we have people working on EOSC Future that are working specifically on containering and orchestration. And I think I could get you in touch with them. We'll send you you can reply to the email, for instance, that we sent out yesterday with a reminder. And if you ask pointed questions in there, I'm sure we can find someone that follows up on this, because we have people working as well on in terms of like how services are onboarded, so how they are made available, on the interoperability requirements for that. And I know we have work on containering and orchestration, but I think in all honesty that it might be a bit further on in the project, in our project. So I don't know how far along that work is, but we can find out for you.
Okay, cool.
Maybe
I will reach out. Yeah.
A suggestion that I can give in this case is if you go to the EOSC portal, there is a section where is written, for providers. And then at a certain point, you should have access either to a PDF or an Excel file. If you search in the Excel file, it's easier. And you can see all the requirements that are asked to be a provider for EOSC. And then if it's something is not clear, go to the technical help, and we will reach you out.
Yeah, because I think Kenneth is really looking for the technical information here. But if you are looking to onboard something into EOSC, what I would also suggest is that at the end of April, we're organizing 3 days of provider days that are aimed specifically at explaining sort of what can be onboarded, what are the requirements for that, how can it be onboarded, what's the process, and also what can be onboarded now, what are we preparing to enable onboarding for. So that's at the end of April. I think it's, I don't know by heart, I think it's the 26th, 27th, 28th of April. And we'll be announcing those shortly. We're very busy putting a program together for those. But that will be more specific about that. And there'll be, I don't know what type of organization you work for, but we have...
I work at the university.
Yeah, so we have a specific session for universities. For now, that's not aimed at individual researchers yet, but that is aimed at like research groups or universities in general that want to set up a system of making things available for EOSC. Because I think talking really at the individual researcher level, that will take a while still, because there's a lot of stuff that need to be done for that. But if you were talking university level or really research units, there, I think we have a specific session for that. We will have a specific session. We're still putting it together, but it will be there.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. And I will reach out to get some more technical details.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Then another question I saw that we had is someone asked if the link to the software publication is restricted to Zenodo. I'm not quite sure what is being said there, so whether they need to be made available through Zenodo or whether they can only be made available through Zenodo, but I know that there's someone here at least that can clarify. I think maybe best you, Julia.
Of course, it's not the only way to do that, but it's the easiest way. Let's say that. Zenodo is very easy to use for upload publication, and this is directly connect with the service that are in OpenAIR, so it will connect also to the research graph, and so visible of the OpenAIR Connect that was shown today by Alessia, or to the Explorer. I don't know if Alessia want to say something more about that.
No, I think you said the most important thing. Just maybe I can take this opportunity to highlight that we are working to revise a little bit the deposit section of the gateways in such a way that all the thematic repositories and not only the Zenodo communities will be much more highlighted. And this is to give more, more space to the repositories operated by the community itself.
Yeah, and again, I think it's Florian Manzeike who asked this question. Again, I think if you want more information for that, a good place to go and look is the provider section on the EOSC portal and marketplace, because there as well you have an overview of what can be onboarded and where it can be shared. Then I don't know whether there's any questions that we haven't dealt with. I think we've had all of them. So maybe then the question that I would have for our speakers is whether they can give us an idea of the more exciting things that are coming up in terms of possibilities for onboarding software, or one of the more exciting services or resources that is already available through the marketplace. I don't know who wants to have a stab at that.
I can say that Zenodo, it's already in the marketplace. Probably we have to redesign the classification of the service that we have, but it's in the process, and everything will be much more nice very soon, I hope. There will be soon research for the data, including in this case data as a digital object, so also for software. That it's something that you can see with OpenAir Explore, but there will be a specific search engine for EOSC as well, in particular for data. And these are the services that are coming to my mind in this moment. I don't know if Giuseppe or Alessia have more to say.
Well, something that is coming, still not in the EOSC portal, but is still in the pipeline for EGI is the registration of the EGI binder instance. So this is the technology that allows you to reproduce open science. So if you are interested, you will be able to spawn a Jupyter notebook on a Kubernetes cluster to replicate, to allow the replication of the research. And this service is currently available in alpha. So we are already opening these services to our initial community to collect additional feedback from them. And based on the feedback, we are going to improve a bit the services before to register this in the marketplace. So this will happen definitely by the end of this year. We have a lot of time, of course. So if you are interested, you will find these additional services in the coming months.
Okay. No more questions have been posted to Slido. If you have a very last minute question to ask, now is the time. If not, just a short word on how we'll follow up with you. So after this session, we'll make sure that we'll make the slides and the recording from this session available, and we'll send them to you via mail. Then you can also get in touch, like Kenneth, to ask further questions if anything should come to mind in the meantime. I'm also hoping that you will join us again next month when we have a session on compute services in the Portland Marketplace. That session will take place on the 5th of April, and it will again be at 2 p.m. Central European time, again here, so same place, same time. And during the session, we will take a tour of the most frequently used compute services that are available through EOSC. That includes clouds, high throughputs, and high performance computing services, orchestrators, workload managers, notebooks, and more. So that's for next month. And then we'll shortly also announce sessions for the months of May and June. In May, we'll cover aggregators and integrators. And in June, we'll have a more in-depth session on high performance computing. So I really hope to see some of you, I mean, ideally all of you, but realistically some of you again then. And you can register for these sessions through the EOSC Future website, and we'll make sure that the sign-up link is also available in the email that we'll send you with the recordings of these sessions. So nothing left but to thank our speakers for today, and then hopefully see you again soon. Have a very nice day.